Hello and welcome. Well, our special guest today doesn't need much of an introduction, but for anyone that's been living under a rock for the last 5 years, here goes. Most people know Sam Wood as a health and fitness expert, but what you don't know is that his fitness extends well beyond adults. In 2007, he founded Gecko Sports, Australia's first ever kids gym, helping kids age 3 right through to high school kids with strength, balance, coordination, and fitness. Now, today, Sam Wood is a dad to 3 beautiful girls and is one of Australia's leading fitness experts and the founder of Australia's fastest growing online training, nutrition and mindfulness program, 28 by Sam Wood. Oh, and by the way, he did this little thing in 2015. I'm not sure if you ever saw it. The Batchelor season 3, where he met his now wife, Snez. Hey, thank you so much for joining us, Sam. How are you?
I'm good, Rach. I thought we were going to get through the intro without the Bachelor there for a second. I was about to say, hello.
But see, I left it to the bottom of the intro. See, I did all the fitness and dad stuff first. So
I'm definitely, I'll never. The Bachelor was the best thing I've ever done because I got to meet Snezana Wood, obviously. But yeah, it's all about family and fitness at the moment, that's for sure.
100%, and we've been really lucky at Kitty Peter. We've done quite a bit with you in the last 12 months. We've featured you in, newborn guide, our COVID guide. I think we even did something for Father's Day, but this is our first chat. So this is really, really exciting. So this is great.
Yeah, great to be here.
Life in lockdown hasn't exactly been a relaxing break for you guys. As a family, you've been very busy inspiring Aussie families to get up off the couch, to raise their endorphin levels and stay positive with the free live workouts, which we were just chatting about. So tell us, what's the feedback been on them?
It's actually been incredible. The gratitude and the community. We sort of, I don't know, as I alluded to before we jumped on air, Snej and I said, we should do free workouts for people because not everyone can join our program and people need it now. And I guess the biggest catalyst was getting families moving, in particular with their kids, because kids were now no longer able to do organised sport or PE because they were doing their school from home. So we decided to do workouts that were kid-friendly at 9 a.m. every morning, putting them through YouTube and our Facebook channel. And it went crazy. We had, well over 3 million people do the workouts over the last.
Did you ever expect that at all?
I never. It was absolutely crazy. Some days it'd have 100,000 people joining us for a workout.
Get out of town. That's awesome.
Absolutely amazing. And Fridays are fun Fridays. Today we worked out and I was wearing a Ghostbusters costume. Little Charlie, my 9-month-old, had a little marshmallow uniform on.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's about not taking life too seriously. I really think this time in particular, if you can, as you alluded to, get the energy up, get the mood up, get those endorphins pumping in the morning, and keep you and the kids active. So, they weren't super serious. They were really, varied workouts that didn't really matter if you were 5 years old or 50 years old, you'd still really get something out of it. And the feedback we received was awesome.
And using stuff around the house as well, isn't it? Like, pints of milk type of thing for weights resistance.
Bigger and stronger, you can, So look, I think, some people have dumbbells and kettlebells at home. Lots of people don't. And we didn't want to, exclude those people. So just teaching people that you don't need a fancy gym set up at home to still do great workouts. Obviously, when it comes to kids, it's about moving their body predominantly. They don't really need weights. It's about balance and coordination and motor skills and getting their heart rate up, but most importantly, making it fun. So, we had spinning wheels and dice and novelty cards. And as I said, dress up. It was, it was a real hoot.
There's a famous quote that says, if your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more and become more, then you are a leader. And that definitely you are. Congratulations on all you've achieved and continuing to do, because it is just absolutely brilliant. And as a motivator for other people, I'd love to learn a little bit about what motivates you, and tell us, where did it all start for you, and where and when did you decide to pursue a career in fitness, just sort of doing what you do?
So I've kind of gone full circle, Rach. I started off first year of my uni degree. I was working at the uni gym, writing programs for people, and I really, I love fitness because I've sort of always been a pretty sporty person, but I probably more so love people. So for me, it was
That's
about,
evident.
being able to combine those two. And then once I started as a personal trainer all the way back in 2001, I'd work with a lot of mums, and it wasn't long before they were bringing their kids to me. And that was kind of unexpected, but I was sort of a big kid myself, coaching my brother's, footy team or whatever it was. It was something I really enjoyed doing. And it was this really, whether they were a tennis prodigy wanting help with agility and footwork, or they were a little boy or girl needing a bit of self-confidence and, someone to sort of lift them up a little bit because they weren't, they're a bit down on themselves, or training for cross country or whatever it was. And before I knew it, I was doing 100 personal training appointments a week, and 40 of them were with kids.
How would you fit that into a week?
It was intense, So the thing with you're a personal trainer is, particularly if you're not working in the city. I was working in Bayside in Melbourne, and so from 5 in the morning to 11 in the morning, you're really busy, and then from sort of 5 in the afternoon to 8 in the afternoon, you're really busy with people coming home from work. But you have this really big gap in the middle. And before I knew it, I had parents bringing their kids to see me for an hour or half an hour rather than go to school. So not that I'm saying don't go to school, but it was fascinating that they could see that spending half an hour with me or an hour with me once a week was actually giving them more value, and it didn't matter that they missed a subject at school and then they'd go back. So, built some amazing friendships. It was really common that I'd train mum, dad and the kids, not together, but I kind of worked with the whole family. And after doing that for 6 years, as you said in the intro, I launched Gecko, which was Australia's first ever kids gym. We did birthday parties. We did Junior Gecko, which was a development program for 3 to 5 year olds. We did holiday programs. We did in-school incursions and excursions for schools. And I loved every minute. It was something that the more I did, the more I loved it. And, the world had already started changing, more electronic computer games, less time outside, smaller backyards, more academic pressure and less PE, like all of these factors that mean that our kids don't move as much as they used to and as much as they need to. Basic nutrition education, all of that kind of stuff became a part of it. And then I opened a PT studio. So I worked for a PT studio, opened Gecko, then opened my own PT studio, which is still around today, called the Woodshed. And then off the back of the Batchelor, I launched an online program, 28. And it's interesting, even though we're online, I still work with the same people. It's a program that helps you get in shape from home. It's hugely popular with women aged late 20s to early 50s, lots of mums on the program. And I make sure that the great thing is it always trickles down. If you're getting yourself active, you become a good role model for your kids.
100%.
Get active together on the weekends, and it only helps. You've just got to, if you can tap into someone in the household, someone in the family, and have them start to change their habits, it often has a ripple effect.
So how would you describe, I guess, what your mission is, and what's your driving force, and what sort of gets you out of bed every morning?
Oh, look, it's the great thing about an online program is it's very scalable. So, we've had 400,000 Australians do my program in just over 4 years. And it's been absolutely crazy, extremely exciting, lots of hard work. And then you feel like you're just getting started. You feel like we're sort of now at a point where we're well known enough that the next 4 years are going to be even bigger. So for us, it's just help as many people as possible. Whether it's, mums, dads, kids, we don't mind. We just want to help get Australians active.
And you've always had an affinity with children's fitness, like you were saying, but as a dad now, has this, given you a new sense of appreciation for the work that you do? And as a dad, really what do you want your kids to learn from what you do?
100%. Yeah. I mean, look, obviously I became a dad really quickly because of Evie. So I went from, being a bachelor to going on the Batchelor to, Eve moving from Perth to Melbourne, and us all living together. So it was a really really steep learning curve, and the best thing that ever happened to me. You know, Evie and I get on really well. We're like little mates. You know, I'm the fitness coach for her girls footy team, and she's now rowing and doing all these other awesome things. And then with my two little ones, Willow's 2.5 and Charlie's nearly 10 months. Absolutely, you got to practice what you preach. There's no point doing what I do and then not doing it with my own family. So getting active as a family, walks, bike rides, going to the park, whatever it is, and, you know, then probably doing some more sport-based stuff with Evie is, definitely something that I'm really big on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, we published your article on how to get your kids to understand health and fitness from a young age. For someone who maybe hasn't read the article yet, can you give us just a little bit of an overview about it and just tell us what inspired you to write it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because it's something that I get as a question so often. I mean, from the Gecko days to now, I would be approached by hundreds of parents every year asking me that question, and it's hard as a parent. And, you know, I know there's a parent because it's often more powerful coming from a third party, whether it be a teacher they love, a friend, family friend, a sports coach. The power that you can have, you know, the amount of kids that I'd, you know, work with, and I'd tell them they had to start eating a healthy breakfast, and they'd go, "Okay, Sam," straight away, and mum and dad would roll their eyes because they'd told their child that a million
Yeah,
times
a million
before.
times. Yeah.
And finally the penny would drop. So it, you know, I think you don't want to get too theoretical. You want to be really practical. And I think what you realize when you work with kids and when you work with families is, first of all, you need to practice what you preach. It's very, very hard to, get your kids active if you're not. You don't have to be an elite athlete or a triathlete, run marathons or anything like that, or a gym junkie. But if you don't have care for your own health, it's very hard to push the barrow for your kids when you're not exhibiting that behaviour yourself. I think the second thing is you have to understand that as a parent, you need to be a facilitator. I think every child is different. Some kids love team sports. Some kids are intimidated by team sport and they love individual sports. Some kids, they'll find the mainstream netball, footy, soccer really appealing. Others that might be more about ballet, dancing and archery. But you need to make a commitment as a parent to do whatever it takes. If you need to drive your kids to 3 different sports a semester for 10 years until they find the one that works for them, I genuinely feel that you need to do that as a parent. So these are just simple things, but these are things that when you say to them, you say these to kids and to their parents, they really do have that aha moment where they're like, yeah, I probably did try 2 sports and then just go, my kid's not that sporty. It's like, well, they didn't like those 2 sports, but I bet you there's something that they like. Or why don't you get your kids active with you? I mean, that's a big one that's often underestimated. It's all very well that you go to the gym and then you're telling them, do things with them. Kids love, Willow is 2.5. She loves going on little adventures with me, whether it's, I've got one of those bikes with the big bucket thing at the front.
At the front, yeah.
Dutch cargo bike, and she sits in it and we go on these adventures and we're picking flowers and finding shells, and she literally has a smile on her face for 2 hours. And we go on walks. I probably ride 20 kilometres and it doesn't feel like exercise at all. And if you don't think that kind of behaviour rubs off on your kids, I mean, the stats there are that healthy kids become healthy adults more often than not, and unhealthy kids or overweight kids become overweight adults. We really do have a responsibility as parents to set the tone at this early age. It's not to get too hardcore about it, but the stats don't lie. Yeah. And it's absolutely imperative that you set your kids up as best you can for a healthy future.
And look, you do mention that in the article. You said, what health and fitness is to us adults doesn't need to be called health and fitness to them. Exercise should be called playing and fun, and healthy eating should be creating and cooking. And once these are big parts of their life, then you're already halfway there. So is that what you're sort of saying also? You just integrate it into their life so that it's just part of what they do and they don't know any different?
I mean, if you're too technical, you tend to lose them. There tends to be a bit of a disconnect. You're not getting your kids to do squats. It might be, let's frog jump around the house, or let's turn what is a great workout into a game. I mean, the example that I put in the article was the food one. I think the more our kids are hands-on in the kitchen, the more they understand what real food is, the more they enjoy cooking. Doesn't have to be crazy healthy. You can do yummy snacks as well. But the more they understand that, the better the relationship they're going to have with food. I think when kids think that everything that they consume needs to come out of a packet, that's when we've got a real problem.
Yeah, totally agree. You know, just getting to this COVID-19 thing that we've just been through, you know, it's been pretty tough on everyone. But, you know, one thing for sure that gets anyone out of slump is exercise, that's for sure. So, you know, like could you just explain to us, you know, why exercise is so important, not only for our physical, but also our mental health?
Look, there's a number of reasons. I think we've really struggled as a collective with structure. And I think if you can have a workout scheduled in, particularly in the morning, that's a big tick in the structure column. There's huge research to show that it's not just good for you physically, but it's good for you mentally. It releases those endorphins. It boosts your mood. It increases your energy levels. I mean, I often think, you know, people say to me, I'm too tired to work out, and they don't realise that it's actually the working out that will boost their energy, not detract from it. So the key is just you got to find something that you like. You know, if you're battling yourself every single day and you hate every second of it, that's going to be a pretty tough battle to win in the long term. So the thing is, there's no wrong way to move. You know, it doesn't matter if it's a bike ride, if it's a walk, if it's a game of soccer, if it's a spin class, if it's boxing, but you've just got to do something.
Yeah.
And getting it done in the morning absolutely sets you up for the day. You know, we all have grand intentions at the start of the day, but then life happens, and it more often than not doesn't. The workout falls by the wayside. So, you know, and that doesn't mean, I don't mean at 5 a.m. You don't have to be in the crazy 5 a.m. club. You can do it at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. or whatever it is. But I just think moving your body in some way before midday. I mean, the mental health benefits, particularly when you get outside, are really strong. You get the vitamin D, you get the fresh air. You know, there's all those extra benefits. But yeah, just moving your body absolutely is proven to help your mental and physical health.
Mm. Look, can I ask you a question? And I'm confused, and let's face it, it doesn't take much to make me confused. You know, as Aussies, we're a sporting nation. We have great weather. We have the ability to be outdoors the majority of the year. We're not always in Melbourne, but we've got good food and coffee, so that sort of makes up for it. So that's okay. But generally, you know, there's very little opportunity for excuses for any of us. Now, in your opinion, you know, how have we managed to reach and maintain the obesity levels that we have here in Australia? This is a big sort of question, you know.
Yeah, it's a great question, because when you do travel overseas, they do have a little. We kind of have the world fooled a little bit, and I mean that respectfully, but I do think people think Australians are just full of bronzed Aussies running around the beach in our budgie smugglers, and it's not you know, in great shape, and it's not really the case. You know, we are like every other Western country. We consume far too many calories, and we don't move our body enough. And it seems simplistic to narrow it down to those two things, but that's what it comes down to. Junk food, processed food, sedentary lifestyle. You know, if you do both of those things for long enough, the kilos are going to get stacked on, and our health is going to slowly but surely deteriorate. And the longer we let that go on for, the harder it is to work our way back. And for many of us, eventually we go, it's too hard. Now, it isn't too hard. It feels too hard. So, you know, I know that's a really simple answer to a really, really serious problem, but it is almost that simple. We need to move more. We need to eat less. I'd probably add to that, eat better, because it's not just a matter of counting calories. It's consuming proper, real food and getting away from the refined sugars and the processed crap. But if you can move your body more, and it's incidental activity, not just structured exercise, it's walking more, it's getting your steps up, it's taking
the stairs at work.
Yeah, all all of that stuff adds up. I mean, there's been some really damning statistics coming out in Western countries, particularly those that are in full isolation, but even in Australia, full lockdown, but even in Australia, on the amount our steps have reduced since COVID has been apparent. So I think as Australians, we're averaging less than 40% of our daily step count that we were before COVID over the last 8 weeks.
But do you sort of see this overall, it's like a psychological shift that we need to make? You know, do you see it's like what sort of needs to shift in our minds to make that big leap forward, do you think? Because sort of looking at the stats, I think it was a 2017-18 study from the Australian Bureau of Statistics National Health Survey showed that 2/3, which is 67% of Aussies, which is like 12.5 million people, are obese or overweight. It's just incredible. I mean, how much of this is a mindset shift, do you think?
Yeah, look, I do think the worm is turning. I mean, it's not a click your fingers fix, unfortunately, but I do feel that, you know, before 2000, in that sort of last 20 years, we were probably in denial a little bit. We didn't think that, you know, as a nation, we were that unhealthy. We kind of pointed the finger at the US and the UK without looking, you know, ourselves in the mirror. And I think, I mean, first of all, you have to realise it. If you're in denial, you're never going to change. And I feel like we are, as a nation, sort of coming out of that denial phase. Then there's the education component. So why have we gotten to this point? And, you know, there needs to be legislation changes, whether it be through schools, whether it be through labelling junk food and, you know, marketing of bad foods on television and brainwashing our children, all of that kind of stuff. So there's but there is a shift. I do feel, you know, it almost was a bit uncool to be the healthy one 10 years ago. You know, you were the difficult one who wouldn't just go with the flow if you ordered the healthy thing or asked for something that wasn't on the menu or whatever it was. There's definitely been you know, and to find a healthy grocer and that kind of thing, they were few and far between. They're now on every shop corner. So there is a shift. It's going to take the next 10 years, I think, for us to hopefully see a reduction. But, I mean, it's quite scary for the first time ever. The life expectancy of our children is lower than our own, and that's never happened before, and that's pretty scary.
That's terrifying, you know. Just getting back to COVID-19, you know, we're still not out of the woods yet, but a lot of people have used this time in lockdown to reflect and reassess and make, I guess, an inventory of their lives, you know, so to keep the good stuff and throw out all the rest type of stuff. But, you know, as we're slowly emerging out of lockdown, this is a really great time to start afresh and make positive changes to our lives and to, I guess, create a new normal for ourselves. I guess so for someone who wants to take the leap forward into a healthier lifestyle, like, tell us what's your pitch, like, for someone that maybe is something new for them.
No, I think you probably should write down what you've been, you know, where the silver linings have been during this period, as in what things you've discovered. I've really seen a lot of families exercising together. I think, you know, getting out of the rat race of getting to work in the hustle and bustle of peak hour traffic and having a bit more time for yourself has been good. But I also think it's been probably the greatest silver lining to come out of this is it's really awakened us all for what we took for granted.
Yeah.
And the message that I think is most important is, let's not just forget that and go back to how we used to be once things normalize to a more complete level. I think, you know, let's understand all these things that we used to take for granted. I mean, you see the environmental benefits that are happening because less cars and less pollution and that kind of thing. I think generally people have been kinder and nicer to each other. I think I think that's been noticeable as we've all
taken a pandemic for it to happen, but, you know.
Yeah, it sucks and it's wrong that it takes that. But I think there's been some real life lessons and some real,
I agree,
gratitude for things. And I guess I'm not preaching to others. Everyone's their own person. But I think my own message to me, and that I've spoken about with Snez and I think the things that we're really strong about with our kids is these things that we used to take for granted. Let's not take them for granted anymore. And let's look at the 3 or 4 things that have actually been nice things to come out of this. And we've definitely spent more time together as a family. We've exercised more outside as a family. And we've loved every bit of that. So I
And
think,
keep that.
more of that. Yeah, keep the good stuff. And, don't forget those things that you've taken for granted.
Just getting back to the whole getting fit thing, how much of, I guess, body transformation and just getting fit in general is in the mind? You know, is it a mental game first and foremost over, I guess, a physical one?
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. I mean, unless you have a purpose to why you're doing it, it's not going to last. So, and as much as it's a hard thing for people to get their head around, motivation is always going to be fleeting. We're going to have good days. We're going to have bad days.
That was my next question.
Yeah, so the key is, for sustained success, the key is moving your body on the good days, on the bad days, not just good days. So I think, I always encourage my 28ers to write down their why. Why is it important to me to look after my health? And you can't tell someone what their why should be. It needs to come from within.
Exactly.
I want to get rid of back pain. It might be I need to lose 10 kilos for my wedding. It might be I need to be a better role model for my children. It might be a combination of things. But your why, I think, should be somewhere where you can, if you're starting to waver, if you're starting to fade, you remind yourself what your why is. It can be a great, kickstarter to keep you going. Focus on progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
Don't try, do 2 hours of exercise every day and never eat your favourite foods ever again. That's going to not be an enjoyable life, and it's
not sustainable.
And most people, if they try those extreme versions, they don't last very long, and they typically bounce back even worse than where they were. So, you're much better off to be an 8 out of 10 forever than a 10 out of 10 for 6 weeks and then drop back to a 2. So,
do you think that motivation and discipline are the same thing?
They're definitely related. I don't know if I'd say they're the same thing. I mean, you do need, I mean, discipline is important, but I think that's where it comes around the rules that you set for yourself. If you set yourself a 10 out of 10 expectation, you're probably just setting yourself up to fail. If you set yourself an 8 out of 10 expectation, you're still going to have a beer or a glass of wine or a piece of chocolate. You're not going to work out every day, but you might get it done 5 out of 7 days. All of a sudden, you start to feel fantastic because you're actually achieving your goal because you set a better goal. Don't set yourself some crazy intense rules that ultimately you're never going to be able to adhere to, and then you just feel
put the pressure on you.
You feel like you failed, and here we go again. The people that get in great shape, they have a nice linear line like this.
Yeah.
The ones that yo up and down or go around in circles find it a lot more difficult.
Well, overall, I guess you really proved that it's possible to incorporate workouts into busy schedules, especially with young kids, instead of seeing the videos you run in the classes and you've got sort of Charlie walking around in a walker. So there's really no excuses for anyone. But, how do you motivate someone, I guess, who has the best intentions but just can't commit? Do you have to sort of break through any other roadblocks, or is it what you were just saying just now? Is it the fact that you just need to just sort of anchor to your why and your purpose and what the reason is?
Yeah, and just, again, less is more. So I always say just do 5 minutes, because I don't know a person that does 5 minutes of a workout and then won't actually do more. So if you're feeling on those crappy days where you're like, oh, it's the last thing I feel like doing, just
something's
do 5
better
minutes.
than nothing. Yeah.
Absolutely. 5 minutes will turn into 10 minutes, and then it'll turn into 15 minutes. And the reality is consistency will always beat volume. So you're much better off to do a 20-minute workout 6 days a week than, a 2-hour run twice a week. You'll actually, your body likes consistency as long as you mix it up a little bit. Don't do the same exact thing every day. Mix it up a little bit, and 2 or 3 of your workouts a week, get a little bit uncomfortable. Push yourself a little bit. because that'll really create change. The more you can get out of your comfort zone, it doesn't mean you have to go as hard as you can every single workout, but you'll be quite amazed at what your body's capable of and how quickly your weight will drop or your fitness will improve if you push yourself in a couple of those workouts each week.
Fitness really and exercise does change lives, and it becomes sort of almost, as you just said, when you push yourself in fitness or in a workout, that you realize you can sort of push yourself in other parts of your life too. So it's great for that.
Yeah,
and look, with your online program, for anyone that hasn't sort of been part of it before, can you tell us a little bit about how it works and how do people benefit?
Sure. So it's all home workouts and they're all 28 minutes. So you get a different home workout with me every day. You got different levels that you can choose. You've got low impact options. You can add yoga. You can add Pilates. Then it's an eating plan where you get 21 delicious meals each week. They're all quick. They're all easy. You can swap things in if you don't like a particular ingredient or whatever it is, and it converts straight to your shopping list. And then it even integrates with Woolworths if you want to get your shopping delivered to your house.
Oh,
so it's all about
all the
easier for
smarts.
people. All the smart. And the thing that I guess we're really proud of is the support. So I do videos every day in real time, giving you education, giving you motivation, keeping you on track. We've got an incredible Sam's crew, they're called, customer service team that are there to help you if you ever need support, if you're feeling a bit flat, or can I swap this recipe, or can I do this, or, I've joined your program, but I, can't do jumping movements. What should I do? Everyone's in a different boat.
But you give them that accountability, which is what sort of keeps people sort of continuing on. Do you feel? What do you find?
Yeah, we try to customize the experience as much as we can. There's a lot of set and forget programs out there where you kind of pay your money and you get a blanket approach that everyone else gets. We allow you to really customize your experience. So depending on how fit you are, whether you need low impact, whether you're vegetarian, what your goals are, whether it's, going to be more about strength, whether it's more about weight loss, you can really customize your experience. And then, the support factor, make sure that you stay on track. If you fell off the wagon yesterday, that's okay. Let's focus on what you do today, and you become part of a pretty incredible community. We've got a private Facebook group just for people that are on the program that's got 50,000 people in it.
Crazy.
And the support that they give each other. And there's something really powerful. It's all very well for Sam to tell you do this and you'll get fit, but when you're a 60-year-old woman and there's other 60-year-old women that you can really relate to saying, don't worry, Mary, I was once where you are, you can do it, this is how far I've come, that can be really powerful. And the way they rally around each other, the friendships that they build, it's incredible.
And you've also got a pregnancy and postnatal program as well, do you?
We do. So if you're pregnant or you've had your 6-week check from your doctor and you're now looking to slowly work your way back into it, we have customised programs from an eating. So obviously more calories if you're breastfeeding, no pregnancy dangerous foods if you're going through your pregnancy. All the workouts are run by Chloe, who's our pregnancy specialist physio. So you know that you're doing the right workouts depending on the stage of your pregnancy. It's a really popular program.
And talking about food, you can never really out-train a bad diet. I guess the bad diet will always win every time. Why do you think eating habits are so important? I think when you're incorporating, of course, into a fitness at a program, because you have all the great recipes as well.
Yeah, it's a huge part of it. It's everyone, the question that's probably the most frustrating is, Sam, what's more important, food or training? Like you have to choose one. You're much better. I'm not sure, I can't believe how often I get asked that question, but absolutely the food is as important as the exercise. And it's important to show people that healthy food shouldn't taste like cardboard. You shouldn't have to be a master chef to create it. We've got 3,000 recipes in our program. They're all quick. They're all, lots. Yeah, they're all delicious. And people don't like to think about it. Part of the success of our program is you wake up each day, you're on your website or you're on the app, and you literally go, right, here's my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, my workout. I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, isn't it? Yeah.
done your shopping, you know you've got those ingredients in the fridge or in the pantry. Just allows you to get it done. You don't have to think about it. You know, if you're going out to dinner on Friday night, you might have dropped that meal, so you didn't have to buy the ingredients. We've just tried to be as practical as possible and reduce those barriers that often stop people getting into shape.
Mm. And the whole sort of work out at home thing as well. There's been some stuff in the news in the last week about people just injuring themselves. Now, I wanted to ask your opinion. Is this just mainly due to technique that needs to be corrected? And what advice do you have for anyone that's unsure of how they should and shouldn't and what they shouldn't be doing? It's all in the quality of the instructor, of course, and then listening to the instructor. But is there anything else with that at all?
Look, I hadn't heard those reports, but I'm not shocked by it. I think there's a lot of people that have probably started working out from home that haven't, they may not be following a program. They may just be winging it, or they may be following a program from someone that perhaps they shouldn't be. I think it, it's the same as choosing a personal trainer or choosing a gym. Do your homework. Really make sure that person knows what they're talking about. I mean, don't choose an Instagram person who, is fit themselves but doesn't actually have the background of training other people or the experience or the qualifications. I think it's important to do your homework a little bit. And it's also, how is that program delivered? If it's just in a written format, that doesn't give you a lot of feedback as someone on how to do those exercises. I mean, the way we deliver them, you are following me in real time on a video, and I am talking you through every single exercise on what you should be focusing on from a technique perspective to ensure that you do the movement properly, you get the best out of it, and you reduce the likelihood of injury.
How about mirrors? Like, in a former life, a lot earlier in my life, I was a trained professional dancer, and I spent so much of my life in front of a mirror, and it all being technique, and you can correct that in front of a mirror. Do you suggest stuff like that or not?
Yeah. Oh, look, if you're comfortable looking at yourself, it can be quite good feedback, particularly the side-on view. We often don't realise, our back is arching if we're in a plank, or our knees are going too far forward when we're lunging. I think being able to glance and sort of check yourself can be quite powerful. I mean, we often get our 28ers to video themselves, send it in, and we provide them feedback on the, if they say, Sam,
awesome.
I feel like I'm not doing my lunge or my row right. It's, I just, obviously we're not in the lounge room with them, so we get them to just film it on their phone. They send it in, and then we can provide feedback, and they love that.
Yeah. And what about age? Like, you're never too old to exercise it either, and it sort of helps with so much stuff. And you mentioned you've got people of all ages as well in the program, so I
don't know what our oldest 28er would be, but they would be in their 80s, if not.
Get out of town.
So because we have a low impact. I mean, the majority of our members would be late 20s to early 50s, but we definitely have some incredibly inspirational people. My work colleague here, the CEO of the business, just put up 90 years old is our oldest member.
Oh, no way.
So, I mean, they do the low impact workouts. They love still cooking. And it's, you don't have to work out every day. You might be a member of my program and you might do the workouts 2 or 3 times a week. And if you're 90 years old, that's going to be incredibly valuable.
Well, that's the thing, it sort of helps with bone density, osteoarthritis, hypertension, blood pressure, and of course all the mental health stuff. So, that's just the thing people probably don't realize. They probably think, oh, I've sort of got past that age, I'm too old, but it's anything but, really, isn't it?
And you shouldn't make any assumptions. We have people in their 70s and 80s on our Facebook page. They're tech savvy, they're connected, they love the social aspect, and they're really vibrant, active members of our community.
Yeah. And talking about your community, it must be so rewarding to see the transformation of your 28ers, as you call them. So can you tell us some of your fave stories, I guess? That you've sort of seen that transformation, because it's got to be, for yourself personally, really quite rewarding also, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's the best job in the world. It's there's hundreds that stand out. There's a gentleman, Troy, on my program at the moment that's doing the program with his wife, and he's kind of journaling his experience. He's only been on the program for 6 weeks, but I think he's already lost nearly 20 kilos.
God, that's a lot.
I love how
Changes
real and
lives.
vulnerable he is. That and he's sharing his journeys and inspiring other people as he goes. But he's very. I love the way he lifts up other people. Him and his wife, they're both beautiful people. There's a lady, Linda, that she joined my program on the first day that it launched in 2016 on the 1st of Feb. She sent me a message on Instagram saying, Sam, I watch you and Snez on The Batchelor from Scotland on YouTube. I love you guys. I need help with my fitness and I need to lose weight, but I'm over here in Scotland. And I said, I'm about to launch 28. I'd love you to be a part of it. Anyway, she joined 28. She did her workouts from Edinburgh in her
This is in
home.
2016.
This is 2016. And she started to lose weight. Incredible woman. And we'd message each other and she'd be active in our Facebook community. And I said, what's your goal? And she said, my goal is to go from 120 kilos to 60. I want to lose half my body weight. I said, I've really let myself go. Anyway, so she did that. She got from 120 kilos to 60. And Snez and I offered to fly her to Australia as a reward. And she's such a lovely person. She wouldn't hear of it. She wouldn't take our gift. So Snez and I jumped on a plane. We flew to Scotland.
You went over there.
Knocked on her door.
Get out.
With a camera crew. And she burst into tears.
Oh.
We spent the day with her. We took her out to lunch. She took us to her favourite walking and running spots.
Oh, mate, that's just the best.
It was incredible. And since then, she has come to Australia. She, she's made so many friends with other people on the program that, she was staying at their houses. They were picking her up from airports. It's 90% of our members are in Australia, but when you hear those stories about how it's travelled the globe, it's pretty special.
Oh, mate, that is just congratulations. That's just incredible and completely changing lives. And for every one person, there's like a ripple effect too, because their friends, their family, their colleagues, everybody sees, the difference in their lives. And so you're impacting not just them, but their whole circle around them as well. So you just think of what legacy you're building and leaving, and it's just astronomical. So, it's just incredible. I guess, so for anyone that hasn't actually been part of the program before, where and how can they find you?
Just head to the website. All the information about how the program works is there. You can join up direct through the website. It's just 28bysamwood.com. And we have a new program starting on Monday.
Sam, love the chat. And congratulations again on everything you've done and are doing. And we love supporting you. So take care and give my love to the girls, and let's chat soon.
Sounds great, Rach. Thank you so much for your support, and I love working with you guys.
All right, take care. Bye.